The envelope lay torn open on the kitchen table like a gutted fish, its contents. 5 crisp $1,000 bills from my hard-won scholarship vanished into thin air, replaced by a single scrawled note in her looping handwriting. "I'm sorry, Alex. You'll understand someday. I love you." My heart slammed against my ribs as I sank to the linoleum floor, the weight of betrayal crashing down harder than the time Dad walked out, leaving Mom and me to scrape by in that Rust Belt trailer in Ohio. In that frozen moment, staring at the empty space where my future should have been, I whispered her name, Jamie, like a curse and a prayer, knowing she'd stolen more than money. She'd stolen the boy I was becoming. That was the day I stopped believing in family as safety nets, the day the world cracked open and let in the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. I was 18, fresh out of high school in Dayton, Ohio, with dreams bigger than the cracked asphalt of our neighborhood. Dreams of escaping the factory hum and the whispers about that queer kid who dared to kiss a boy behind the bleachers. The scholarship was my ticket to NYU's theater program, a lifeline to a life where I could be unapologetically me, where love wasn't a secret shame. But Jamie, my older sister by 5 years, the one who'd braided my hair as a kid and promised we'd conquer the world together, had other plans. Her plans involved a sleazy boyfriend named Rick, a string of bad bets at the track, and a habit that turned her eyes hollow. She'd always been the wild one, the firecracker to my quiet spark. But this was arson. I didn't cry right away. No, the tears came later. In the shower, hot water mixing with salt as Mom banged on the door, her voice muffled and frantic. "Alex? Honey, what's wrong? Did you get the letter?" She didn't know yet. How could she? Jamie had timed it perfectly, slipping out before dawn with the cash stuffed in her purse, leaving me to break the news. When I finally emerged, towel around my waist, eyes red-rimmed, Mom's face crumpled like old newspaper. "That girl," she muttered, pulling me into a hug that smelled of cigarette smoke and diner grease. "She's always been trouble, but this, God, Alex will figure it out. We'll call the school, appeal or something." But we both knew there was no appealing betrayal. The money was gone, wired straight to Rick's account for some fool's errand in Vegas. And just like that, my dreams deferred, like Langston Hughes warned, but with a sharper personal sting. The weeks that followed blurred into a haze of minimum wage shifts at the local Burger King, flipping patties while grease popped like accusations on the grill. Mom picked up extra hours at the truck stop, her feet swelling in those ugly orthopedic shoes, but pride kept her from asking for help. We didn't talk about Jamie much at first, too raw like picking at a scab. When we did, it was in fragments. She called from a payphone in Reno, sounding slurry, said she'd pay it back. Or, "Rick's in jail now, some bar fight. Good riddance." But the silence grew thicker, a wall between us, and I threw myself into community college instead. 2-year associates in liberal arts, because what else was there? Nights, I'd lie awake in our sagging double-wide, staring at the water-stained ceiling, replaying that note in my head. "You'll understand someday." Understand what? That family meant taking turns screwing each other over? It was there, in the dim fluorescent glow of Sinclair Community College's theater lab, that I met Ethan. He was the TA for Intro to Acting, a lanky New Yorker with tousled dark hair, wire-rimmed glasses that slipped down his nose, and a laugh that cut through the awkwardness like sunlight through fog. 22, transferred from NYU, the one I'd lost, and he had this way of quoting Sondheim mid-scene, making even the stiffest monologue feel alive. Our first real conversation happened after a brutal cold red where I butchered a monologue from Angels in America, my voice cracking on the line about love in the time of plague. "Hey," he said, cornering me by the vending machine, his Columbia hoodie zipped halfway, revealing a faded Proud Theater pin. "That wasn't half bad. You got fire in there, kid. Just needs polishing." Kid. It should have irked me, but coming from him, it felt like an invitation. We talked for hours that night, about Prior Walter's defiance, about growing up queer in straitjacket towns, about the ache of wanting more. He bought me a stale bag of chips with his last quarter, and when our fingers brushed, electricity zipped up my arm, the kind that says this could be something. Ethan was out and proud, no apologies, with a boyfriend back in the city who sounded perfect on paper. Gallery curator, weekend brunches in Chelsea. But I could hear the strain in his voice, the unspoken "but he's never here." I didn't push. Instead, I let him pull me into late-night rehearsals, where we'd improv scenes of forbidden loves and family feuds, his hand lingering on my shoulder a beat too long. By spring, the rehearsals had evolved into something unspoken, a dance around the edges of what we both wanted. One rainy April evening, after a group scene where we played estranged brothers reuniting over a shared grave, the cast cleared out, leaving us alone in the black box theater. The stage lights hummed low, casting long shadows, and Ethan turned to me, his glasses fogged from the humidity. "Alex," he said, voice rough like gravel, "that note you wrote for the improv about the sister who took everything? That wasn't improv, was it?" I froze, the prop letter I'd scribbled. Ripped envelope, stolen dreams, still clutched in my fist. How had he seen through it? "No," I admitted, throat tight. "It's real. Happened last fall." He crossed the space between us in 2 strides, pulling me into a hug that started platonic, but melted into something fiercer, his chin resting on my head. "I'm sorry," he murmured, "and damn if it didn't crack me open." We stood like that until the rain stopped, his heartbeat syncing with mine, and when he pulled back, his eyes searched mine. Question, permission, hunger. I nodded, and then his lips were on mine, soft at first, then urgent, tasting of coffee and possibility. It was my first real kiss since high school fumblings, the kind that rewrites your geography. We didn't go further, not yet, but that night marked the shift from mentor to more, from ache to anchor. Summer brought heat waves that warped the trailer park's chain-link fences, and with it, the first fracture in our fragile peace. Ethan had to head back to New York for his internship at a off-Broadway house. But he promised weekend visits, train tickets split 50-50. "This isn't goodbye," he said at the Greyhound station, his duffel slung over one shoulder, kissing me quick and fierce amid the exhaust fumes. "It's see you soon." I believed him because what choice did I have? Mom noticed the glow in my step, the way I'd hum show tunes while scrubbing counters. "Boyfriend?" she asked one night over canned chili, her eyes twinkling despite the lines etched deep from worry. I hesitated, old habits die hard, but then nodded, spilling it all. The theater, the kiss, the hope. She squeezed my hand, tears welling. "You deserve that light, baby. Don't let anyone dim it, not even family." But family has a way of eclipsing joy. Jamie resurfaced in July, a ghost in flip-flops knocking on our screen door at midnight, reeking of cheap motel soap and cheaper regrets. She ditched Rick after his arrest, hitchhiked back from Nevada with $20 and a black eye from some trucker who'd turned mean. "Alex," she sobbed, collapsing into Mom's arms. "I messed up so bad. The money. I thought it was for us, for a fresh start. Rick said we'd hit it big." Mom shushed her, but I stood frozen in the hallway, arms crossed like armor. For us? The lie burned. She'd known. That scholarship was my everything. The culmination of late nights tutoring brats for cash, of swallowing slurs from jocks who caught me glancing too long at the swim team. We let her crash on the couch, because blood's thicker than spite, but the air crackled with unspoken indictments. Over breakfasts of instant oatmeal, she'd ramble apologies, her hands fidgeting with a cigarette she couldn't light indoors. "You're gonna make it, little bro. You're the smart one, always were." I'd nod, throat tight, while Ethan texted from the city. "Miss you. Audition went great. Thinking of you in that rain scene." His words were lifelines, pulling me from the undertow of her presence. But Jamie saw it, the phone lighting up my face in the dark, and one night, after Mom conked out from double shifts, she cornered me in the kitchen. "Who's the guy?" "Some college pretty boy." Her tone was teasing, but edged with something sharper. "Jealousy? Regret? None of your business?" I snapped, rinsing a mug harder than necessary. She laughed, bitter. "Always so buttoned up. Bet he's got you wrapped around his finger, just like I did with that cash." The words landed like a slap, twisting our history into something ugly. I whirled on her, water dripping from my hands. You didn't rap me. You gutted me, Jamie. That money was my shot at being me. Not hiding in this shithole, pretending I'm straight for Dad's ghost. She recoiled, eyes wide, then softened, reaching for my arm. I didn't know you were, gay. If I had. Bullshit. I cut her off, voice low and venomous. You knew enough to take what wasn't yours. She flinched, tears spilling, and for a heartbeat, I saw the sister who'd shared secrets under the covers, who'd defended me from bullies with her sharp tongue. But the hurt was a live wire, and I walked away, slamming my bedroom door on her sobs. Ethan came down that weekend, all city polish in his button-down, navigating our trailer with wide-eyed charm. He charmed Mom with stories of Broadway flops, made her laugh for the first time in months. Jamie watched from the sidelines, her gaze flickering between envy and curiosity. That night, as Ethan and I stole moments on the porch swing, his fingers tracing patterns on my knee, whispers of future additions in the city. The air felt charged, alive. But Jamie's shadow loomed, a reminder that love, like family, could curdle without warning. Fall semester hit like a freight train, classes piling on with Ethan back full-time, our relationship blooming in stolen afternoons at the campus coffee shop, where he'd sketch scene ideas on napkins and I'd red lines with exaggerated flair to make him grin. We were good together, him the dreamer, me the doer, balancing his flights of fancy with my grounded grit. He talked marriage someday, after law school, his backup plan, theater being too fickle. And I let myself imagine it. A loft in Brooklyn, scripts scattered like confetti, a life where betrayal was just a plot point, not a scar. But scars itch, and Jamie's return had reopened mine. She stuck around through September, waitressing at the same diner as Mom, trying to rebuild. Apologies flowed easier with distance. I'd nod when she slid rent money across the table, $20 bills earned the hard way. See? I'm making it right, she'd say, eyes pleading. Part of me wanted to believe her, to let the wound scab over. But trust is a muscle, atrophied from disuse, and every time she glanced at Ethan, a little too long, a smile too bright, I felt the old paranoia stir. Was she jealous of my happiness? Or worse, scheming another angle? The blow came in October, crisp leaves crunching underfoot as I trudged home from a late shift. Mom was waiting in the living room, face ashen, a crumpled eviction notice in her lap. It's the back rent, she whispered. Jamie's been skimming from her tips, pocketing the house money for. God knows. Landlord's done waiting. My stomach dropped. Again, the betrayal echoed, louder this time, layered with the fresh sting of our fragile normalcy. I stormed out, finding Jamie at the corner bar, nursing a soda. She swore off the hard stuff. Her posture slumped like defeat. Why? I demanded, sliding onto the stool beside her, voice raw. We were good. You were fixing it. She met my eyes, hollowed by shame. Rick's out. Came sniffing around. Said he had a sure thing in Atlantic City. I thought, just this once for the family. Mom's meds are piling up, Alex. I couldn't watch her suffer. Excuses, all of them, but laced with truth. The pills for her rheumatoid arthritis weren't cheap, and insurance was a joke. Still, it gutted me. You could have asked, I said, voice breaking, instead of stealing again. She buried her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. I know. I'm poison, little bro. Always have been. In that neon-lit haze, with Springsteen crooning from the jukebox about working-class glory, I saw her not as villain, but victim. Trapped in the same cycle that snared Dad, that tempted me to numb the pain with boys who didn't stay. I didn't forgive her that night. Instead, I walked back to campus, calling Ethan from a payphone, his voice a bomb over the line. Come over, he said, and I did, collapsing into his dorm bed, spilling the mess while he held me, his fingers combing through my hair. Family's complicated, he murmured, kissing my temple. But you're building your own. With me. We made love for the first time then. Slow, reverent, in the glow of his desk lamp, bodies mapping forgiveness neither of us had earned yet. It was tender, transformative, the kind of intimacy that stitches souls. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he whispered plans. Apply to NYU transfers. I'll help with essays. We can do this, Alex, city lights, us against the world. But the world has a way of testing resolve. November brought Thanksgiving. Mom's table set for 4. Us, Ethan, and a pointed empty chair for Jamie, who'd skipped town again, chasing Rick's ghost to Philly. The turkey was dry, the conversation stilted, but Ethan's hand under the tablecloth grounded me. To new beginnings, Mom toasted, her eyes misty, and I clinked glasses, tasting hope laced with ash. Little did I know, the real feast of reckoning waited years down the line, when the tables I'd set would spin in ways none of us could predict. Winter wrapped Dayton in ice, classes a blur of midterms and matinees, Ethan and I carving out a rhythm. Coffee runs, script readings, stolen kisses in the library stacks. He was my North Star, pulling me toward additions and applications, his belief in me fiercer than my doubts. You're a leading man, he'd say, pinning a callback notice to my fridge with a magnet shaped like the Statue of Liberty. I started to believe it, too, scribbling personal statements about resilience, about turning theft into fuel. Jamie checked in sporadically. Postcards from Philly, then Baltimore, promises of turning over a new leaf that rang hollow as wind chimes in a storm. By spring, the transfer acceptance came. NYU, deferred entry for fall, partial aid but enough to swing it with loans and Ethan's couchsurfing hospitality. We celebrated with cheap pizza in Washington Square Park, his head on my shoulder as buskers strummed folk tunes. This is it, he said, lacing our fingers. Our Act 1. But even in triumph, Jamie's absence gnawed. A hollow in the narrative, a villain unredeemed. Mom called the night before my flight, voice thick. Proud of you, baby. And Jamie's in trouble. Overdosed in a motel. She's okay, stomach pumped. But they're talking jail time. Petty theft to feed the habit. My chest tightened, old wounds flaring. What do you want me to do, Mom? From 1,000 miles away. Silence, then a sigh. Just don't hate her forever. Hate? It was more like a dull ache, a scar tissue tenderness. On the plane to New York, turbulence rattling the windows, I journaled furiously. Forgiveness isn't absolution. It's survival. Ethan met me at LaGuardia, all grins and a bouquet of bodega daisies, whisking me to his cramped Hell's Kitchen walk-up. The city assaulted my senses. Honking taxis, steam rising from grates, the electric hum of possibility. We dove in headfirst. Open mics in the Village, where I'd belt rent numbers to hipster crowds. Gallery crawls uptown, Ethan's arm around my waist like a shield against the stairs. He was out here, fully, and it emboldened me. Rainbow pins on my backpack, hand-holding on the subway, no apologies. Summer internships followed, me as an understudy at a fringe festival, him interning at a literary agency. Nights were ours. Rooftop picnics with skyline views, bodies entwined in the humid dark, whispers of forever. Marry me? He joked one dawn, tracing my collarbone. When we're old and famous. I laughed, but the seed took root. A dream deferred no longer. Jamie faded to background noise. Sporadic calls to Mom. Tales of rehab stints that stuck like glue on paper. I sent money once, anonymously through Mom, $100 from my first paycheck. For her, I said. Not forgiveness, just mercy. Sophomore year brought polish. Roles in student films. A queer theater collective where Ethan directed my one-man show about stolen dreams. Critics, student ones anyway, raved about the raw vulnerability, and agents started circling. But success has shadows. Ethan's ex, the curator, resurfaced via email. All charm and what-ifs, stirring insecurities I'd thought buried. He's history, Ethan assured, but late nights found him scrolling old photos, doubt creeping in like fog off the Hudson. We fought, ugly words like daggers about trust, about how betrayal lingers. You think I don't know? I yelled one rain-lashed evening, slamming the apartment door. My sister's blueprint. He followed me to the fire escape, soaked and sorry, pulling me close. I'm not her, Alex, and you're not defined by that. We made up under the downpour, fiercer for the fracture, vowing communication over assumptions. It was our first real test, and we passed stronger, scarred but seamless. Junior year, the call came that shattered the idol. Mom, voice quavering over crackly line. Jamie's arrested. Bad check scam in Jersey. They're saying 5 to 10, federal time. She named you in her statement. Said you'd vouch, that you understand. Understand? The irony burned, hot as stage lights. I hung up, staring at the skyline from our new Brooklyn sublet, Ethan at my side. What do you want to do? He asked, no judgment. I paced, memories flashing. Her braids in my hair, her note on the table, her sobs in the bar. Nothing, I said finally. She made her bed. But beds unmade themselves in dreams, haunting me through additions and callbacks. A role landed. A gritty indie about queer siblings in crisis. And suddenly Jamie was everywhere, her ghost in every line. The director, a bearish queer icon named Marcus, pulled me aside after table read. This feels lived in, kid. What's the fuel? I spilled it then, the scholarship, the thefts, the endless cycle. He nodded, eyes kind. Art's therapy, but life's the real director. You gonna let her off stage forever? The question festered, blooming into action during winter break. I flew home alone, Ethan buried in agency revisions, landing in Dayton's slushy chill. Mom looked older, grayer, the trailer colder without Jamie's chaos. We drove to the county jail in silence, her hand trembling on the gearshift. Visiting hours. Jamie behind plexiglass, orange jumpsuit swallowing her frame, hair lank and unbraided. Alex, she breathed, pressing the receiver to her ear, eyes devouring me. You came. Not for you, I lied, voice steady. For Mom. For the kid I was, who thought sisters were superheroes. She nodded, tears tracking. I know. The scholarship. It haunts me. Every night in here, I see your face. That envelope. I was drowning, little bro, Rick, the pills, Dad's shadow. But you rose. I'm proud. Proud? From her? Cracked something in me, a fault line widening. We talked for an hour, raw, unfiltered, about queerness. She'd guessed, always had, about love's sharp edges, about how family isn't blood but choice. Write me, she said as time ticked down. Tell me about the city, the boy. Let me earn back in. Back in Brooklyn, I did letters weekly, laced with humor and heart, Ethan adding doodles of us as cartoon lovers. Her replies came scrawled, contrite, glimpses of the sister lost. Recipes from the mess hall, dreams of parole. Ethan watched, wary at first. Don't let her pull you under again. But seeing me lighter, he softened, joining the correspondence. You're turning tables, he said one night, over takeout pad thai. Not revenge, redemption. Senior year crested with a bang. My show off Broadway. Reviews calling it a poignant gut punch on forgiveness. Ethan proposed mid-curtain call. Ring from a pawnshop Broadway prop. Simple gold band. Engraved Act 2. I said yes, tears blurring the applause. But triumph's peak often precedes the fall. Post-grad haze. Auditions drying up. Ethan's agency folding in the recession. Jamie's parole hearing looming. Then the letter certified from a Philly firm. Rick, out and vengeful, suing her for abandonment. Dragging old thefts into light. If she lost, no parole. Straight to Fed pen, a decade gone. I stared at it in our shoebox apartment, rain lashing windows. We can't, Ethan said, reading over my shoulder. Not after everything. But the boy who'd lost a scholarship knew the cost of inaction. Watch me, I replied, dialing a lawyer friend from the collective. A sharp queer litigator named Dana. Turns out my rising profile podcast invites, TEDx talk on queer resilience, had cachet. Dana took the case pro bono, and I testified. Not as victim, but witness. She stole from me? I told the judge, voice steady in the oak-paneled courtroom, Ethan gripping my hand in the gallery. Twice. But theft isn't her story. It's survival. And redemption? That's mine to give. The gavel fell light. Parole granted. Suit dismissed. Jamie walked free on a muggy June morning. Me waiting curbside in a rental sedan. Ethan beside me with a sign. Welcome to Act 3. She hugged me fierce, sobbing into my shoulder. Mom beaming from the back seat. How? She whispered. You turned it. Freed me. I smiled, throat tight. Family chooses, Jamie. And I choose us. Years later, in our Soho brownstone, mine from a Netflix series, Ethan's from best-selling scripts. We host Thanksgivings where Jamie brings her AA sponsor, her laugh no longer hollow. Mom's in assisted living now, arthritis eased by our pool checks, telling stories of the brother who wouldn't quit. Betrayal's scar remains, a faint line, but it's woven into the tapestry. Reminder that love, messy and American as apple pie, demands turning tables not to crush, but to lift. And in quiet moments, Ethan's head on my chest, our rings catching lamplight. I think, we understand now, not just someday but every damn day. The city that never sleeps had me wide awake at 3 a.m., staring at the water stains on the ceiling of Ethan's Hell's Kitchen sublet, the distant wail of sirens a twisted lullaby. It had been 3 months since the transfer, 3 months of subway scrambles and street meat carts, but the high of escape still buzzed like caffeine. Ethan snored softly beside me, his arms slung possessively over my waist, breath warm against my neck. We'd christened the futon that first night. Awkward, eager, laughing through the creaks. But now it felt like home, his scent of sandalwood soap and ink mingling with mine. Yet sleep eluded, chased away by a phantom envelope, Jamie's note replaying like a bad loop. You'll understand someday. I slipped out, padding to the fire escape for air, the iron rungs cold under my palms. Manhattan sprawled below, a glittering beast indifferent to my small dramas. Back in Dayton, I'd imagined this as salvation. Neon signs erasing Rust Belt regrets. But ghosts hitchhike too. Mom's last call echoed. Jamie in rehab, third try. Doing better this time. Better. What did that even mean for a woman who'd turned family funds into fool's gold? I lit a rare cigarette, Ethan's vice, not mine, watching embers flare like accusations. Forgiveness wasn't a switch. It was a siege, slow and stubborn. Ethan stirred at dawn, finding me with ashtray guilt. Rough night, he mumbled, pulling me back to bed, his body a question I answered with kisses. We had that easy rhythm now. Mornings of shared showers, steam fogging the mirror as he'd lather my back, humming defying gravity off-key. He was theater royalty in miniature, connections from his internship opening doors I'd only peeked through. Audition today, he'd say over bagels, clipping articles about up-and-coming queer voices. You got this, leading man. His faith was infectious, papering over my cracks. Classes started that week. Scene study with a drag queen professor who chain-smoked merits and dissected the normal heart like scripture. I thrived there, shedding Midwestern timidity, my accent softening under the barrage of borough twangs. Evenings, we'd hit open mics in the East Village, me belting La Vie Boheme to dive bar crowds, Ethan nursing a beer at the bar, eyes proud and hungry. One night, post-set, a scout from a queer rep company slipped me a card. Raw talent, kid. Call tomorrow. We celebrated with street falafel, spinning in the crosswalk like idiots, his laughter bubbling against my lips. But cracks spiderwebbed. Ethan's ex, Jordan, emailed innocuous at first, saw your callback in backstage. Kill it. Then persistent invites to gallery shows with veiled nostalgia. Ethan deleted them, jaw tight, but I saw the flicker. Old loves die hard in a city of second acts. He's just fishing. Ethan dismissed, but nights grew restless, his hands wandering less assured. We talked it out over Central Park picnics, apples crisp in autumn air. You're my now, he vowed, tracing my palm. The rest is prologue. I believed him because believing was building. Jamie wrote first from rehab a letter on crisp stationery, no smudges. Little bro, walls here are ugly green, but the food's better than mom's meatloaf. Joking. Seriously, heard about NYU. Proud doesn't cover it. Tell me everything, the boys, the lights. Love, Jay. I read it aloud to Ethan over takeout lo mein, his chopsticks pausing. Right back, he urged. Closure's a scene, not a curtain. So I did. Pen scratching honest. The kiss in the rain, the city's chaos, how her theft fueled my fire. Understand? Not yet, but maybe soon. Her reply came quick. Fuel's better than ash. Keep burning. Thanksgiving loomed, a homesick specter. Ethan hosted, turkey from a Korean deli, stuffing vegan for his roommate's girlfriend. Mom FaceTimed from the trailer, Jamie beside her, fresh out, eyes clear. Look at you, city slicker, Jamie teased, her grin crooked. Don't forget us Hicks. We laughed, but undercurrent tugged. Her gaze on Ethan, appraising. Later, alone with Mom, she confessed, Jamie's clean, working nights at the mill. But Rick's circling, says he wants his girl back. My gut twisted. Tell her to run. Mom sighed. Blood's blind, Alex. Break came, train rattling me homeward. Ethan staying for family obligations upstate. Dayton welcomed with biting wind. Mom's hug bone tight. Jamie waited at the diner, apron smeared with pie filling, her smile tentative. Missed you, squirt. We hugged awkward, then slid into a booth, coffee steaming. She spilled, rehab revelations, Rick's texts like vultures. I want different, she said, eyes fierce. For you, for Mom. No more taking. I nodded, thawing. Prove it. Over pie we reminisced, bike rides to the quarry, secrets swapped under stars. Knew you were gay since you mooned over Luke Perry, she admitted, winking. Laughter bridged gaps, and for a night we were kids again. Back in the city, I told Ethan everything, his arms wrapping tight. Progress, he murmured. But progress is plot and plots twist. Winter quarter brought snowdrifts and spotlight. My first lead in a student cat on a hot tin roof. Big Daddy's ghost haunting my brick with queer subtext. Reviews in the campus rag glowed. Heart's vulnerability sizzles. And Ethan beamed from the front row. Roses in hand post-bow. We splurged on sardies. Caricatures on the walls mocking our youth. To us, he toasted, foot hooking mine under the table. But Jordan's shadow lengthened. An invite to his Chelsea opening, Ethan waffling. Go, I said, masking unease. Closure. He went, returned late, smelling of wine and regret. Nothing happened, he swore, but words hung heavy. We fought in whispers, trust territory, ending in tears and make-up sex that felt like mending. You're it, he breathed, forehead to mine. No encores. Spring bloomed tentative, cherry blossoms dusting Washington Square. Jamie visited, bus ticket gift from me. Wide-eyed at the chaos, crashing our couch for a week. She charmed Ethan with factory tales, bonded over wicked tickets I scored. Your man's a keeper, she whispered one night, post-show buzz. Don't let go. I didn't plan to, but plans pave hell, and hell came calling in May. Mom's diagnosis. Early rheumatoid flare, bills mounting. Jamie pledged help, but her mill shift barely covered rent. Send what you can, I said, wiring $500 from audition gigs. It was a start, or so I thought. The recession hit like a stage blackout. Lights dimming on dreams we'd scripted so carefully. My off-Broadway callback? Cancelled, budget slashed. Ethan's agency internship? Down to part-time, cold calls to producers who ghosted. We stretched ramen and residuals, the brownstone a pipe dream deferred. But we had each other. Nights scripting original shorts on his laptop. My head on his thigh, laughter defying the lean times. Indie darlings, he'd quip, kissing my temple. Starving artists sell stories. Jamie called mid-June, voice-edged panic. Rick's bad news again. O's bookies pressuring me. Need a loan, Alex. 500. Payback double. My hackles rose, memory flashing to ripped envelopes. No, I said flat. Get clean help and not me. She pleaded. Mom chiming in background. Just this once, baby. Once is a lie's favorite disguise. I caved. wiring it, resentment simmering like bad coffee. Summer sweltered, auditions air-conditioned oases amid pavement heat. I landed a commercial, queer dad hawking yogurt, pocketing enough for AC and a weekend in the Hamptons. Ethan's splurge on a friend's borrowed beach house. Waves crashed, salt air cleansing, our bodies bronzed and bare on private sands. "This is living," he said, sand in his hair, drawing hearts in the wet. Love felt invincible then, a bulwark against the world's grind. Back in the city, the other shoe dropped. Mom's voicemail, frantic. "Eviction again, Alex. Jamie." She took the money for Rick's debt. "He's gone, but the landlord's furious. We're packing." Rage boiled, hot and immediate. I booked the next train, Ethan insisting on coming. Dayton greeted with humidity and heartbreak. The trailer half bare, boxes labeled in Mom's neat hand. She hugged us weary, eyes puffy. It wasn't her fault, not all. Rick threatened. "Excuses," I snapped, regret instant at her flinch. Ethan mediated, soothing with tea and talk, but tension coiled. I found Jamie at the quarry, skipping stones like kids, her back to me. "Why?" I demanded, voice echoing off water. She turned, face streaked. "Fear, Alex. He said he'd hurt Mom if I didn't. I chose wrong again." We sat on the bank, silence heavy as humidity. "You're better than this cycle," I said finally. "Break it. For real." She nodded, vow solemn. "I will. Swear." Ethan, witnessing from afar, pulled me close later in the motel room we'd booked. "You're kind, even when it hurts." His touch healed, slow dances in the dim, promises whispered against skin. We helped Mom relocate to a subsidized apartment, smaller but safer, Jamie crashing on her couch with conditions. Meetings, job hunt, no Rick. Return to New York brought refocus. Me channeling fury into a monologue series on betrayal, Ethan pitching it to contacts. "Your pain's gold," he said, eyes alight. A producer bit, workshop in the fall. Life tilted upward, tentative. Fall foliage turned fiery, mirroring my resolve. Jamie checked in weekly, progress reports. Certified nursing aid course, sponsor named Carla. "Proud?" she'd ask, voice lighter. "Getting there," I'd reply, meaning it. Ethan and I thrived in the workshop, his direction sharp, my performance visceral, buzz building to a staged reading. Post-rehearsal drinks at a dive, he proposed casually over peanuts. Eloped in City Hall? Skipped the fuss. Heart full, I agreed, rings ordered online, matching silvers engraved our scene. But joy's fragile prop, and December delivered the prop malfunction. Jordan, bold now, cornered Ethan at a holiday mixer, saw the engagement blurb. "Mistake, babe." Words twisted, doubt seated. Ethan confessed over eggnog, guilt carving lines. I shut him down, but it shook me. We unraveled that night. Accusations flying, my trust me echoing Jamie's lies. Am I just rebound? I hurled, door slamming behind me. Wandering midtown in flurries, Times Square's glare mocking. I crashed at a friend's, soul raw. Ethan's texts bombarded. "Come home, please." Dawn found me returning, him waiting with coffee and contrition. "You're my everything," he sobbed, knees on linoleum. We rebuilt brick by brick, therapy sessions in a walk-in clinic, queer counselor unpacking our baggage. "Love's not perfect," she said. "It's practiced." We practiced, emerging tighter, threads rewoven. New Year dawned crisp, resolutions whispered. No more ghosts. Jamie's letter arrived then, enclosed check for $200 first payback. From aid shifts, more coming. Love you both. Ethan framed it, beside our rings on the mantle. Redemption arc, he grinned. But arc's arc, and the next twist waited in shadows. Postgrad glitter faded fast, the diploma a paperweight on audition rejections. I waitressed at a theater district bistro, smiling through honey from tipsy tourists, while Ethan tempied at a production company, scripts proofed till eyes blurred. Our Brooklyn studio, rent gouged by hipster influx, echoed with next month's tight size. But we made it magic. Potlucks with theater fam, his head in my lap during Hedwig bootlegs, love notes in lunch bags. Starving scenic, he joked, nuzzling my neck. Jamie stabilized, full-time aide at a nursing home, stories of cranky residents' lightning calls. One old guy's a closeted vet, reminds me of Dad. We talk shows. Mom thrived nearby, arthritis managed, bragging to neighbors about my Broadway boy. I visited spring break, Ethan in tow, the three of us hiking Cuyahoga Valley, leaves unfurling like hope. Jamie and I talked deep one dusk, her amends list, my coming out scars. Stole your start, she admitted, voice small. But look, you soared. Tears mixed with trail dust. Hug lingered. Back east, momentum built. My monologue series greenlit for Fringe Fest. Ethan's spec script optioned lowball. Reviews for the show. Heart's confessionals cut deep. Drew agents. A manager named Liz with shark teeth and soft eyes. Queer stories sell now, she said over oat lattes. Lean in. I leaned, landing a guest spot on a Netflix drama. Queer barista with secrets. Filming in chilly warehouses. Ethan visiting set with thermoses of soup. Summer scorched, success simmering. The series script sold to a pod producer. Audio gold. They said, audio LGBT vibes, raw and resonant. Jamie guested on a call. Her laugh recorded accidental. Adding grit. Freed voices. Ethan toasted at rap party. His arm my anchor amid industry schmooze. Jordan lurked periphery, a like on Ethan's Insta deleted but we ignored. Focused forward. Fall brought harvest. Podcast launch top charts and arts. Invites to the Moth. A TEDx slot on betrayal as backstory. On stage in Seattle, spotlight hot. I spilled it all. Envelope, sister, rise. Audience hushed. Applause thunderous. Ethan in wings. Tears shining. Backstage, he knelt. Marry me proper? Vows? Cake. The works. Yes tumbled out. Plans sketched on hotel napkins. Spring wedding, small, queer inclusive. But December's chill carried storm clouds. Mom's call. 2 a.m. New York time. Jamie's taken. Federal beef. ID theft ring with Rick's crew. Philly lockup. Extradition tomorrow. World tilted. Phone slipping. Ethan held me as sobs racked. Betrayal's echo deafening. Not again, I gasped. Details trickled. Jamie? Clean 6 months. Lured back by Rick's one-job promise. Forged docs for a scam. Busted mid-handover. Facing 10+. Her statement. Contact brother Alexander Hart. He'll explain. Family matter. Explain. From red carpet whispers to courtroom cold. I flew solo next day, Ethan's meeting conflict. Landing in Philly's gray drizzle. Lawyer assigned. Overworked public defender. Files stacked. She says you're key witness. Background. I spilled history, voice mechanical. Thefts, cycles, glimmers of good. Please weak without sympathy, he warned. Parole hearing in months, if no Fed time. Visiting room. Jamie, jumpsuit stark, hands cuffed, eyes hollowed. Alex, God. Receiver trembled. Rick swore it clean, docs for immigrants, not fraud. Lied again. Rage ward pity. Her story cracked. Desperation for mom's surgery fund. Rick's coercion veiled threats. Why me in the statement? Pressed. Because you get second chances. You gave him. Air thickened. I saw the kid who'd shared crayons, not the thief. I'll try, I said, hanging up, gut knotted. Back home, Ethan waited with tea, listening silent. Don't drown for her, he cautioned. But the TEDx clip went viral, Heart's humanity hooks. And with it, opportunities. Book deal whispers, speaking gigs. Liz called, leverage it. Pro bono profile. Actor Free's sister from Cycle. Cynical but smart. I hired Dana, the litigator friend. Sharp as stilettos. Queer ally through collective. We'll paint redemption, she plotted over Zoom. Your story's the spine. Months blurred. Wedding postponed to fall. Focus on case. I testified prep. Rehearsing lines like monologues. Ethan directing. Eyes soft, voice steady. Truth's your prop. Jamie wrote from cell. Letters of amends, recipes scribbled, pride in my clips. Heard the podcast, cried at your hook. You're free because you chose grace. Grace? I questioned in therapy, our counselor's office a sanctuary of plants and prompts. Grace isn't weakness, she said. It's power claimed. Climax brewed in federal court, Newark's vaulted ceilings echoing like theater. I took stand, suit crisp, heart hammering. Judge, stern patrician. Mr. Hart, your sister's counsel claims familial context mitigates. Elaborate. Words flowed. First theft's devastation. My deferred dreams. Second sting amid rebuilding. Her lures into abyss, yet sparks of change. She stole my start, I said. Meeting Jamie's gaze across aisle, Ethan in gallery, hand over heart. But family isn't scorekeeping. It's lifting when they fall. She's fallen far, but she can rise. Cross-exam probed. Victim or enabler? I held both. And choosing to help? That's neither. It's human. Jury deliberated 2 days. Verdict, guilty, but sentencing light. Time served plus probation. Restitution plan. Gavel fell. Jamie's sob pierced. Parole immediate. Rick's suit crumbled under Dana's motions. Outside, June sun breaking clouds. Jamie hugged me fierce. Mom weeping nearby. You turned it, she whispered. Freed me. Ethan joined, circle complete. Our story now, he said, kissing my temple. Wedding bells chimed metaphorical that fall. Our ceremony in a Brooklyn botanical garden. Vines twining arches. Queer choir belting at last. Jamie walked me aisle, arm linked. Her aid scrubs swapped for thrift store silk. Eyes clear. Proud holder-upper, she quipped, voice thick. Vows exchanged under oaks. Ethan's through every act. Mine no more ghosts. Rings slid smooth. Kiss sealed with cheers. Cake smashed with glee. Honeymoon in Provincetown, beaches, bikes, bodies lazy. Reaffirmed us. Love script rewritten daily. Career crested. Book stolen scenes hit shelves. Memoir weaving betrayal to breakthrough. Audio version LGBT tagged. My voice narrating hooks that hooked millions. Tours packed houses. Q and as delving deep. Forgiveness, I'd say. Not erasing, embracing the mess. Jamie guested once. Panel on siblings. Her candor disarming. I was the villain. He made me hero. Applause thundered. Afterward, beers in green room. Toasting tables turned. Life layered. Mom relocated to Queen's assisted spot. Near us, her flare-ups tended by Jamie's age shifts. Irony sweet. Ethan directed his first feature. Queer rom-com with my cameo. Oscar's buzz faint but fervent. We adopted a mutt named Pryor. Walks in Prospect Park plotting kids someday. Surrogacy dreams deferred but dawning. Jamie's arc true. Engaged to Carla. AA steady. Nursing degree night classes. Full circle, she said over holiday pie. Our table groaning. Mom's stories. Ethan's quips. Pryor begging scraps. Betrayals. Scars faded. Stories now. Fuel for tales told round fires. One eve, skyline twinkling from our deck. Ethan beside. Wine warming palms. Understand now? He murmured, echoing her old note. I smiled, pulling him close. Every day. And it's beautiful. Humanity's the grand finale. Not tidy bows, but encores earned. We chose ours, table turned to table set. Feast for all.